Today we want to talk to you about the dangers of hot cars.
Remember, kids have a smaller blood volume compared to those of adults. So to dissipate their heat from their core to the surface is also extremely poor. They don't sweat as much as the adults. So the ability to maintain their internal body temperature is also poor, or to regulate their body temperature is poor. Working in ICU, we see a spectrum of disorders when they reach a critical thermal threshold, so to speak. That's when they are such poor compensatory mechanisms, heat-related illness, that they have cellular injury, internal organ damage that can go all the way from just altered mental status. They can be anxious, they can be delirious, they can hallucinate all the way to seizures. They can have multiple organ failure, including liver failure. They can also go into significant dehydration, and they can have clotting problems where they can tend to bleed. So I would strongly advocate parents and caregivers to recognize why the children are at such high risk to suffer from heat-related illness and avoid leaving them unattended. So thank you very much.
Now we want to talk to you from a parent's perspective. Candace Baer.
I never thought that I would be one of those parents that became the statistic of leaving their child in the car. It's definitely looking back every time you get out of the car. And I would like to tell you a little bit about my story so you could know that my day started off as a normal day, just like anybody else. And I had a meeting. This is the child that was left in the car, and he's a miracle, as you can see. And he was sleeping in the car, and the phone rang. I answered it. I get to my destination, and I just get out of my car. And I don't, just the block of even remembering now of how that process went without looking to remember that my child was with me. An hour and a half later, that I realized that where is my child? And I looked down and I asked my friend Brennan, and he was nowhere. And so in split seconds, I'm trying to figure out where he was located at. And so I immediately thought, this is my worst nightmare. And ran out to the car, and there he is. And he's red, and he's sweaty, and he's labored breathing. And I just take him out immediately and take him inside and just call for 911 and close to try to get him on the cool tile floor, just to do anything to help him. And the paramedics got there and started taking care of him. And the whole process, he was in the hospital. He's just a rare case that he is even here today. He is a miracle. Because an hour and a half in July heat in the car, it's just, children just don't survive. And close to try to get him on the cool tile floor, just to do anything to help him. And the paramedics got there and started taking care of him. And the whole process, he was in the hospital. That's why, one reason I'm here, I just don't want his pain and my forgetfulness to be for no purpose. That I want to reach out to other parents and caregivers and just warn them that, I mean, there is no excuse for it. So I don't want you to think that I'm making any excuses of all the different things that happen, but they do play a role in that process. And so if you can be careful.
In 10 minutes, a car's inside temperature raises 19 degrees from that of the outside temperature. In 10 minutes, a car's inside temperature raises 19 degrees from that of the outside temperature. And I'd like to introduce Dr. Paul Welch to discuss a little bit about our pets and how they fare.
Good afternoon. There's a little bit of difference between the children and the pets. Whereas children are usually left in cars by accident, in most cases the pets are left in cars on purpose. You know, we're running to the grocery store, we're running an errand, going to a friend's house. We're just going to be inside for a minute. We leave the animals in there. And as you know, if I have a 78-degree day, within about 10 minutes or so, I'll go from 78 to between 100 and 120 degrees. Now the difference between people and pets is we have sweat glands. Your dogs and cats don't have sweat glands on skin. And because of that, the way you dissipate heat or lose body heat is by panting. Well, now you've got inside the car with a sauna going on with an animal panting. Well, the longer that they're in there and the hotter it gets, the more they pant. And like I say, we go from 78 to 110 or so in 10 minutes with nothing in the car. You add a panting dog, it skyrockets at that point. And like I said, it's one of those things where cracking a window doesn't help, because everybody wants to crack a window. They don't want to leave it open too far, or the dog jumps out. They crack it too little, the dog can't breathe. So the main take-home message here is don't take your pet someplace that if you're going to leave the car, the animal goes with you. If you're going to leave the animal in the car, you're much better off being in that air-conditioned home. Thank you very much.
Officer Craig Murray is here with the Tulsa Police Department to discuss what those consequences are.
Thank you, Danny. Forget me not. That's the name of the law that we have on our books. It actually took effect last year, where an officer in the city of Tulsa can write a citation for it. Before that, we would arrest somebody and book them on a charge that would be a state charge. They'd have jail time, they had fines. So by putting it on the books where we can write a ticket for it, doesn't make it any less of a crime. Starting fines $50, can go up to $500. A second offense is $100, could go $500. A third offense is $200, up to $500, and up to 6 months in jail. But if a person leaves a child under the age of 6 unattended, or a unattended person that needs that attention, someone who needs a caregiver taking care of them, being in there with them, if they leave them in a car while they're inside partaking of alcohol, that's an automatic $500 and 6 months in jail. Only too many times children don't survive, and we're finding that's happening too much across the country. But we can put a stop to it, and by having something like this and showing people how easy it is for those temperatures to go up, we can find that we can put a stop to it, and that's what we want to do. Thank you.